Thrill Me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
Heyo, and welcome to a brand new episode, the first episode of the year 2023 of the Reveal Rob Show. I am your host, Reveal Rob, coming at you with the twisted, it sounds like it was going to be a horror show. Anyways, it is a horror show because I got horror news for you, man. But you know this show. If you're new to the show, hi, I'm random. I talk, I ramble. It happens. But this is the Reveal Rob Show where I talk all kinds of movie news, mandatory DC Comics news, DC Films news, spooky news like horror movies and stuff that nature, random other bits of movie news, throw in some wrestling news, throw in some music news, and of course you will get a review on the show, all spoiler free of course, because I do not spoil movies at all. I do not like doing that. I try my best not to spoil them. If you've listened to this show for a while, you know I go out of my way to not spoil a movie. So there's that. Like I mentioned earlier, brand new year, man. 2023 is here. Hope everybody had a safe celebration of the new year as we move into 2023 and all the hopes and goals we should have. And if you're making New Year's resolutions and all that stuff, do it to you. If you saw our special, the Throw Me Podcast Network, we had a year-end special and a New Year special talking about, stuff to come in 2023 with new shows coming in and all that good stuff. Deprogramming, I guess this is throwing up. Just kidding, or maybe. Depends on the stories they tell. Maybe they threw up in the stories. Who knows? That's the crazy twistedness that goes on around here. But I guess this is growing up. And Deprogram have joined the Throw Me Podcast Network. We got some fun stuff going on over there. Also, Haunter's Podcast is back, man, with a special show. They normally do the Haunt Talk, but a little early for the Haunt Talk, It's a little bit later down in the year when we get some more HHN news and all that good stuff flowing. But they're coming back with a show called The Slasher Report, man. So, fun stuff, fun new stuff going on there. You can check those out. A couple of those are happening this week, man. I guess this is growing up. Debuts this Friday. Slasher Report also debuts this Friday on the YouTube. That is the Throw Me Podcast Network's YouTube, man. So make sure you join in, follow there, give us a like, subscribe. I don't like saying that stuff, but gotta put the brand out there, man. We gotta keep growing. We've had some really good success in 2022, and we just want to continue to grow in 2023 and keep having fun doing these shows, because that's the main goal for me. I can't speak for the others, but for me, doing this show is just a passion project for me. I love talking movies, love talking any and everything that grabs my fancy, if you will. So that's why I do this show, and that's, I don't have any New Year's resolutions. Just continue to grow. I can get healthier, of course. I want to ride some freaking roller coaster rides again, so if I get in better shape, that'll be great. I don't want to get in better shape to be healthy. No, I want to be in better shape to ride theme park rides, man. But I guess to be healthy would be fine, which I'm pretty okay in that aspect, I guess. I don't know. I don't care. But, that's the things for 2023. We're not going to dive too far into that. And, of course, we got our classic shows here on the Throw Me Podcast Network. You've got this show that you're listening to, of course. You've got the Metal Groove with Tombstone Josh, and you got the Mr. Wonderful show. So all kinds of entertainment coming to you from the Throw Me Podcast Network as we continue to grow and build in 2023. And we got a special event coming up this month, the Royal Rumble event. Royal Rumble is a classic. It is one of the main four, the big four of the WWE pay-per-view, or excuse me, premium live events. Royal Rumble. There is two Royal Rumbles. You got the women's and the men's Royal Rumble, and we will be going live during the Rumble and playing something called the Rumble Game. So if you want to take part in that, join our Patreon for $1, just $1. You can join in on the fun and play the game with us. That is taking place on the 28th of this month. So if you're into it, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're not a wrestling fan, come join and have fun with us. Let us make you a wrestling fan. It'll happen. You'll have a good time. You'll have fun. That's the main goal in life, to have some kind of fun, right? So there you go. I got that going. We got all that good stuff going on. We got all that good news, good fun stuff. Happy way to start the new year. First show of the year, man. Let's get into it. This week's review is going to be The Invitation. Before we get into that, I'm not going to change the show up too much. The show's going to be the same. Again, I like the flow of the show. I'm very happy with my show. I enjoy doing the show again. It's a passion project for me. I have a good time with it. Maybe the trailer audio won't be as long, but still, DC news will always be mandatory. Horror news, spooky news will always be mandatory on here. And I'll throw in little bits and pieces of other things, as you'll hear on this episode. But again, let's go ahead and get into it. The review this week is going to be for a film called The Invitation. It is rated PG-13 for sexual content, partial nudity. There's nudity in this movie? Oh, yeah, there is nudity in this movie. Partial. Some strong language, terror. There's terror in the movie, and violent content. The movie released last year, 2022. Got to get used to that, too, by the way. You're in a new year. You're going to run into that thing where it's like, I accidentally put 2022 instead of 2023. It's going to happen, I feel like that was something that happened more back in the day when you, had to handwrite things and all that stuff. But I really feel like, still put that warning out there. 2023. It's no longer 2022. But this movie itself that I was talking about before I got on that little ramp thing, 2022 film, is a horror mystery thriller film that is the trifecta of brilliance. I love those three together. It is 1 hour 45 minutes, and I watched this movie on Netflix, the frickin' streamer that gives me more problems than any other streamer in the world. Yeah, actually, I don't think I had too much. No, it did mess up a little bit while I was trying to watch this movie. I don't know I don't know. Netflix and I are not on the greatest of terms. That's another shirt that I can have. I already got the one shirt. Not a Marvel guy. The other shirt could be, which you know what? We're gonna talk about Marvel a little bit later. We'll get into that when we talk about Marvel later. But Netflix and I are not friends. Be like a bet. Anyways, let's cue up the audio, shall we? So I can stop talking for a moment.
Welcome to the wedding festivities. This is Lord of the Manor, Walter Deville.
Hi.
Hi.
Did I mention he's hot?
I wasn't expecting you.
I didn't expect it either.
I want someone to see me for who I truly am.
I feel like they're not telling me something.
All right, and I'm back. I don't know if you heard that scream or not. Just coming back in. Why not? Jump in and get a scream and get me. Here I am. Anyways, all right, the movie is after the death of her mother and having no other known relatives, Evie, played by Natalie? Natalie? I suck at names, guys. I'm sorry. If you're new to the show, guess what? Suck at names. I'm sorry. Natalie Manuel takes a DNA test and discovers a long-lost cousin she never knew she had. Invited by her newfound family to a lavish wedding in the English countryside, and she goes, of course, because you meet strangers online, but you're related to them, so I guess it's okay to supposedly related to them. I mean, the DNA test is never wrong, right? So I guess it's okay. Let's see. English countryside. She is first seduced by the sexy aristocrat host, but is soon thrust into a nightmare of survival as she uncovers twisted secrets and unsettling attentions behind their sinful generosity. Rotten Tomatoes had a critic score of 27%, while the audience score is sitting at a 60%. IMDb has it at a 5.3 out of 10. So, what are my thoughts on the film? And be honest with you, I enjoyed the movie. I'm going to be right straight up front with you. I enjoyed this film. I don't have any real issues coming out of it. Now, I'm not a cinematography guy. I'm not going to sit here and lecture you on how a film should look and what cameras they should be using and all the backgrounds and all that stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to talk to you about that stuff. But I will say, overall, the look of the film I liked. It's got that classic kind of horror vibe right from the start. Right from the start. It does get into a little bit, different, but kind of like that gothic kind of vibe, when you're like the, old, I wouldn't say too old of films, but kind of like that, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s kind of look to it in the beginning, or actually maybe Crimson Peak if you've seen that. Now, of course, Guillermo del Toro's on a whole higher level perch. He's one of the best. He's a favorite director of mine without a doubt. So not fully that vibe because you get your own thing with Guillermo, but the gothic kind of vibe there at the beginning, and it moves well. Again, the movie's an hour and 45 minutes, but it moves pretty well. I think maybe you could have trimmed some spots here or there, but overall it's more done for giving that ominous vibe that they give you and everything, and they do a job of spanning it out. Now, of course, we've seen movies like this where you think you're in a safe place, you get invited to this place with the family or whatever. I mean, most recently with a film like what was it, Ready or Not, where crazy things happen when you meet the family, right? Or even Get Out. Now, of course, Get Out is a different aspect and meaning behind the things that they're doing in that film. Jordan Peele's doing in that film as opposed to what's going on in this movie. But still you can see those similarities if you want to, because they are there. You know the building to the eventual uh, unsettling intentions and all that good stuff. The movie itself, though, again, I enjoyed. I think the performances are good. It's definitely got its spooky vibe to it. It's got its mystery vibe to it, and it's got its thriller to it. It's not overly gory or anything like that. It's a PG-13 film. Um, there is violent content, of course, but it's not too insanely gory or anything like that. It is mostly on the thriller side. Now, it does say in the synopsis, doesn't give you too much away. If you've seen the trailers, you can kind of get the idea of what she's dealing with here. Even some of the trailers tell you what happens. So again, be careful watching trailers. That audio clip I played for you is a 30-second clip, and I cut it off kind of short there, but on accident. I meant to. It's the first episode of the year. Yeah, I mean, I've been podcasting for a number of years, but hey, first episode of the year, I'm gonna do some things because I keep the show real, man. I'm keeping it real. As Clueless. It's a line from Clueless. Come on. Anyways, Clueless, what a movie. But we're not here to talk about Clueless. Maybe sometime down the line. Actually, that could be a movie that's on the show. Got another show, Core Memory Unlocked, that's hitting the Thrill Me Podcast Network this week as well. Hitting on Thursday. It's normally Improper Guidance, but Improper Guidance first season ended. We've got the new show, Core Memory Unlocked, but you still got your dynamic duo of Zach and Justin over there. They're going to be talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kindergarten Cop. So they're going to be going through 90s movies. So maybe they'll talk about Clueless down the line when they get to it, whatever season that would be. When that movie comes out, look for me on season 5 of that show when they talk Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because I will be on that show then. Same with Slash Report. I'll be on it at some point in time. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I live by the moment. But what are we talking? The invitation. That's what we're talking about here. So again, I go out of my way not to spoil anything here, but since it was in the trailers, not necessarily a spoiler unless you avoided trailers, which I applaud you and give you huge support there. It's hard to avoid trailers. I do a good job. What I like to do is that I'll see the first trailer and then I'm done. I don't need to see any other trailers for a movie, but I don't want to say it. See, again, I go out of my way to not spoil anything for you people who listen to this show because I don't want to take anything away from you. So if you haven't seen the trailer, good on you. I will say the movie is enjoyable. It's on Netflix right now. I don't know how long it'll be there. So if you have Netflix and it works for you, go ahead and check it out. It's 1 hour, 45 minutes. Not too long of a movie. PG-13. There is sexual content. There's partial nudity, but it's okay. It's all right. It's just a butt. Okay. It's a butt. If you've seen freaking American Horror Story, you've seen much more graphic stuff. Okay. But I did enjoy the movie. I liked the pace of it. I liked the spooky, unsettling kind of vibe that it had at points in time. So there were moments when I'm watching it, like I'm a horror movie veteran at this point. Been watching them for years. Been addicted to them for years. Love them to death. Love horror movies. Favorite thing. We're gonna on the Thrill Me Podcast Network. We're gonna have a show about Hype List. What we're looking forward to in 2023 that's coming out. And honestly, there's a movie coming out this week that I'm getting kind of hyped about as it gets closer, and it is a horror movie, so we can talk about that on that special. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Again, if you subscribe to the Thrill Me Podcast Network's YouTube, you'll get the notification, and it'll be right there for you. But overall, invitation, love the vibe of it. It was an enjoyable film for me. Personally, I enjoyed watching it and had a good time watching it. It's a movie I remember seeing the trailer of, and I was like, I do want to see this movie. And then, didn't end up watching it till, the end of 2022. Probably should have watched it sooner. But I was waiting for it to hit Netflix, apparently. And, it was on Netflix and got the chance to check it out. And I say, you know what? Check it out as well. I'll give it a thumbs up. You know what? I don't know if I'll go as far as 2 thumbs up, but I'll give it a thumbs up. It was enjoyable enough to, you know, keep me entertained for a while. And again, like I was mentioning before I got on that tangent, I've watched a lot of horror movies, and there's moments in these movies they'll get you, man. They will get you pretty good with some scares in this movie. They do a good job. Did I jump? No, of course not. But I felt the unsettlingness of it, and I was sitting there like, oh, I did that mostly. I was like, oh, here we go. Something's about to happen. I had that reaction, like, oh, here we go. Something's about to go down. So, yeah, I think it's enjoyable. I enjoyed the movie. Hell, I don't care. If other people have a problem with it, this 27%, 60% business, I don't care. I thought the movie was enjoyable. Was it like the greatest movie I've ever seen? No, but it's enjoyable. It passes the time. It works. It does what it needed to do, and I had a good time with it. And that's what matters to me. So, if you want to check it out again, it is on Netflix currently streaming on the Flicks. So if you want to check that out, go for it, man. I enjoyed it. All right, going from there, we're going to jump into the news portion of the show. That is news of 2023, me doing the news thing. I don't know if that's going to happen any more times, but hey, maybe it could, maybe it won't. Who knows? DC is where we're going to start off here. Again, mandatory. Every single episode I talk DC film news, as well as the spooky stuff. Going to jump into DC first because I have not as much news this time on DC. The last couple episodes had a plethora of DC news. But this time, just a couple things to talk about, both of them, of course, revolving around James Gunn, who, the poor man can't catch a break. He's just trying to enjoy the holiday season. He's posting a holiday post and all that stuff, and, people have to, comment on there like, oh my God, I can't believe you got rid of Superman. How dare you? Restore the Snyderverse. All that stuff. Even today, man, what do you think? Okay, people at least will take a break on this because he posts about freaking Jeremy Renner, who had a scary accident happened to him. We wish the best for Jeremy Renner. He's still in the hospital. He had surgery. Last I saw, stable condition, critical but stable condition. So again, keep your prayers out there for Jeremy Renner. And anyways, James Gunn posted, support for him, hoping the best, and then people still commenting on it. I wish you wouldn't have got rid of Superman. I can't believe you got rid of Superman. Did this Superman after you brought him back. Which, by the way, James Gunn did not bring back Superman. Warner Brothers brought back Superman for the Black Adam movie. Okay? James Gunn had nothing to do with that. After the Black Adam movie was released, James Gunn was put in charge. Okay? So do some fact checking before you, start running your mouth. Especially on posts that have nothing to do with anything other than trying to wish the best and a healthy recovery for somebody. Like, shut up. Like, stop. It's so ridiculous. The internet's ridiculous. If you haven't known already, internet's stupid. That's why I don't spend too much time on it anymore because just can't do it. I've stopped messing with Twitter pretty much altogether. Like, I don't even want to look at it. Been attacked on Twitter. I didn't even do anything. Been attacked on Twitter. And, it's like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care about Twitter. I'll get on Instagram every now and then. Yeah, mostly Instagram more than anything. Anyways, we don't need to talk about that. Let's talk about the DC news. James Gunn has debunked yet again a BS rumor that's been put out there because, people running their mouths on the internet as they do and putting out fake rumors and all that stuff. But he has to debunk these things, and this is why I love James Gunn, because he will debunk these things. Which, again, I am very in favor of James Gunn taking over DC Studios and being co-CEO of things over there. I like his style. I like what he's done. He made me enjoy a movie with a freaking talking raccoon in it. I've enjoyed the Scooby-Doo movies. I've enjoyed the freaking Peacemaker show to death. Absolutely loved it. So I can't wait. And his Suicide Squad movie. Can't wait, man, to see what he's doing with it. And the man always delivers like some freaking awesome stuff in his films, and he always delivers a fantastic freaking soundtrack, which I can't wait to see the soundtracks he's going to have in these movies. So I'm into it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what his vision is. I've been hyped and excited, man. So many people are just downers about where DC is right now. I'm freaking excited. Can't wait. Love DC. All right, but anyways, he debunked a rumor that said Warner Brothers Discovery would be hosting the special event. James Gunn and DC Studios will have an event this month, as James Gunn has said, where they'll be announcing some of the plan for the DC films that are coming. There's a 10-year plan supposedly, and we're gonna get the part of the first part, or some of the first part. We don't even know, but he will be announcing things this year. We already know about the Superman movie that's coming. But somebody said that the event will be happening on January 6th to make announcements about the upcoming projects, to which he replied, "It is not. This is not true. It is not happening on January 6th. Give it some time. They'll give us the information we need to have it. All right? It'll be there." He's also clearing up the fate of HBO Max's Green Lantern series. A publication was stating that the show has been scrapped for no longer happening over to HBO Max. The co-CEO, co-head of DC Studios, has debunked that rumor by calling it just simply fake. The Green Lantern series has been in development since 2019 with Arrow versus Greg Berlanti behind the project. Back in October, it was reported that the focus of the show had been changed from no longer being on Guy Gardner and Alan Scott to now being on John Stewart, who has been one of the longest-serving Green Lanterns and DC's first black superheroes, one of DC's first black superheroes. And so no, that show has not been canceled. That show is still moving forward over there on the HBO Max. So again, hold your horses, calm down. Snyderverse fans, it's going to be okay. Take a chill pill. You'll be fine. We're moving in a new direction. It's okay. It's all right. We'll be fine. I mean, I don't even have to say we'll be. I'm already fine. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm like Ric Flair over here. Woo! Can't wait. Excited. So excited for this movie. Everything's coming. I can't wait to see what he has in store for us going forward. So be happy. All right, now moving over to spooky stuff. First thing we're going to talk about here, James Blum and Jason Blum and James Wan, messed their names up. Those two, of course, a couple episodes back, I talked about the fact that they're looking to merge their two companies and becoming a huge horror movie conglomerate. They are opening up about what the future holds. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, Jason Blum, who is, of course, the founder and CEO of Blumhouse Productions, spoke about what motivated him to try and make a deal with James Wan. He said, quote, "Not losing out on the next James Wan film is always a motivating factor for me. I get very nervous anytime James does a scary movie without me. I get very upset," end quote. Blum said that's what Blum said. James Wan and Jason Blum are set to work together on the upcoming 5th installment of the Insidious franchise. Did I see the 4th one? That was the key one, right? I don't remember it. I don't remember that movie at all. Be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of the Insidious movies. I think I've only seen the 3rd one and the key one. Is it? Yeah, I've only seen those ones. I like the 3rd one. I don't remember that other one. Anyways, they're working together on the 5th installment, Insidious: Fear the Dark. They also look to the future to see what it might hold if their companies do merge together. One of those possibilities being a sequel to the Invisible Man film. Came out a couple years ago. Was a pretty good success. People really enjoyed that one. Good scares in that one. Blum is hoping that James Wan will be able to help revive talks for a possible sequel to The Invisible Man, saying, quote, "Hopefully, should our dreams come true and our two companies get to work together, maybe James will help me solve that problem," to which James Wan said, quote, "I'd be more than happy to," end quote. So Invisible Man sequel more than likely going to happen. I mean, if you got those two powerhouses behind it, why the hell wouldn't you do that? Okay. Again, the Invisible Man movie that came out was very exciting. There's multiple other monster movies, Universal monster movies that are in the works right now. Again, I've been on record and I will stay on record. I don't care what you say, Mr. Wonderful. I love the Mummy film starring Sophia and Tom Cruise. Fantastic movie. I don't give two squats about anything that people have to say about that movie. Like, oh my god, it's a Tom Cruise action movie. Well, guess what? The Mummy movies that came out in the 90s, Brendan Fraser action movie. And if I'm choosing between two actors for an action movie, I'm going Tom Cruise. And I love Brendan Fraser. I think he's awesome. I enjoy his Mummy movies. Fantastic. But don't come at me saying there's an action movie and that's why we don't like it when the freaking Brendan Fraser movies are what? Excuse me? Huh? What are they? Action movies. All right. Anyways, Invisible Man sequel will be happening. Insidious Part 5 apparently happening as well. And can't wait to see what they have to do in the future. I like both. They have both done good things as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what happens in the future. Speaking of movies that are coming out in the future, Nicolas Cage is set to play Dracula in the upcoming Renfield movie, and he spoke recently with Empire magazine about his portrayal of the vampire, the most classic, iconic vampire. Maybe? Yeah, has to be, right? Dracula. Come on. Anyway, say, quote, when I got a sense of where McKay wanted to go, I realized the movie was a comedic pop art attitude. This is what he said of director Chris McKay's vision. Quote, so I thought this will be a pop art Dracula. Warhol did a great black on black Dracula that is in that Warhol vein. Cage also spoke about his research for the character, harkening back to one of the most original vampires portrayals in cinema, that of course being 1922's film Nosferatu. What a movie. 1922, man. What a movie. If you haven't seen Nosferatu, check it out. I think it's on like one of those free streaming services on Roku. That's where I watched it last, right? Yeah. Quote, I noticed all these little gestures that are, by today's standards, over the top. When Max Schreck does that, snaps his wrist, extends his fingers, and puffs into smoke, I was like, what is that? Is it dance? What is he conveying there? I said to Chris McKay that I really wanted to find a place to put that in Renfield. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if they kept it, but I tried. It is largely studio picture, so I wanted to play. It's a largely studio picture, so I wanted to play with what can I get away with here. If you're playing Dracula, you have a lot of latitude. The film centers around Dracula's titular henchman, who has grown sick and tired of the centuries he has worked as the Dark Prince's lackey. He finds a new lease on life when he falls in love for a feisty, angry traffic cop. I'm excited for that movie. That movie sounds like it's going to be, again, a comedic adventure, more so than anything really scary or all that. It sounds like it's going to be a different kind of take on our Dracula films here. So give it to me, man. I'm all for a vampire movie. I like vampires. Twilight, maybe, I don't know. I haven't really sat down and watched all those movies, and maybe I've been a little too harsh on Twilight, because the whole sparkly vampire thing. But I don't know. I don't know. That's a subject for another time. All right, let's see. Jennifer Kloska, I suck at names, has opened up about the highly anticipated first animated film adaptation of the Ghostbusters franchise that is coming. She spoke to The Wrap about this, saying, quote, it feels sort of very right and fitting to come back to Ghostbusters in an animated form. Feels like so many Ghostbusters fans come from that space as well, and that gives you this bigger, weirder stage to play upon, and I think we want to obviously do something very new and different, as we always do, but we know that there are so many Ghostbusters fans who just are wanting to see this franchise animated again. In terms of the visual style and tone, she had this following say, quote, by design, this is going to be different. I think all the films that Sony does are very cautiously stylistic and tonally different, and more also visually. The technology and the artistry pushing the medium, and we are going to be looking for our own approach that's going to be very specific, link to the Ghostbusters franchise, to the world of the supernatural, and to telling of ghost stories. There you go. There is a Sony has an animated Ghostbusters movie in the works. From what I understand, this project has maybe nothing to do. Seems a little bit different than the recently announced Ghostbusters animated series that'll be hitting Netflix at some point in time, which involves Jason Reitman. So, multiple things happening in the Ghostbusters world right now. You got two animated projects happening here. You got the animated movie, and then you got the animated series that's coming. You have a sequel to the last Ghostbusters movie that came out happening, and yeah, it's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing going on, because like two Ninja Turtles things have released recent or about to release. There's a movie that released on Netflix last year. There's another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie releasing this year. So a lot of stuff's just going on. They're just having their fun. Like last year, there were two Pinocchio films that came out. One by Guillermo del Toro, and then there's the other one, on Disney. So who freaking knows at this point? It's just like, hey, let's put this out. Let's put this stuff out here and see if people watch it. Ghostbusters is always a good time. It's fun. I've enjoyed Ghostbusters from what I've seen, including the freaking female-led Ghostbusters movie that people love to hate because, females are the leads. I don't know any other reason. Yeah, it's a little over top, some jokes are kind of forced in there, but hey, doesn't mean it's bad. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with that movie every time I see it. I watched it recently, still had a good time with it. All right, let's see. And last but I'm throwing this in the spooky news just because of the potential that this could go to. Every year, classic creative works enter something known as the public domain on January 1st, and that's a day that we just passed. So January 1st, under the U.S. copyright law, classic creative works can enter the public domain. And among those are the original Sherlock Holmes stories from author Conan Doyle. So, Sherlock Holmes, you know him. You should know it. Most recently, thing we've had Sherlock Holmes wise is the Enola Holmes films, 1 and 2. They're both on Netflix. I'm sure we'll get another one. Enjoyable films. I enjoyed both of them. And, you had the great Henry Cavill playing Sherlock Holmes in both of those. We'll see if they do anything from there with that. But are they doing another Robert Downey Jr. movie as well? I feel like they are. Hang on as I Google if there'll be another Sherlock Holmes, 3. It would help if I freaking knew how to type. Um, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything so far. So, according to what I'm reading right here, as of November 2022, Sherlock Holmes 3 does not have a confirmed release date, but we assume it is still happening. It was originally set for Christmas of 2020, but of course, we all knew the nightmare of 2020 is pushed back until Christmas time of 2021 and was not released, and then was taken off of the release calendar. So, I don't know if that movie's happening, Captains. There is a Sherlock Holmes 3 on IMDb. But yeah, again, no release date, no plot information, nothing happening there. It says Robert Downey Jr., says Jude Law. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens or not. But anyways, I included this in the spooky talk because apparently when movies or properties, hit the public domain again, the first thing they do is turn them into horror movies. We've got what, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. As soon as Winnie the Pooh hit friggin' public domain, boom, horror movie. Now there's talks of like what was it? Was it Peter Pan horror movie? Um, there's another one as well. I mean, I know that Grinch movie recently came out. That was a freaking horror movie as well. So, I mean, there's just things happening like this that are going on right now. So, a Sherlock Holmes horror movie? Why the frick not, man? Give it to me. I mean, that should work. He's like, what a freaking, he's a detective, right? So, yeah, a detective in a horror movie. Give it to me. I want it. All right, let's jump into other news. Disney Plus has announced that an original documentary focused on Stan the Man, Stan Lee, will arrive at some point in time in 2023. That is this year. So be on the lookout for that. Stan Lee, amazing. I mean, we all love Stan Lee. I mean, even if you're not a huge Marvel fan, you freaking love Stan Lee. I mean, come on. There's no reason you couldn't like Stan Lee. And he gave a lot, and he was, did all those fun cameos. He was in the Kevin Smith movies as well. So we all love Stan Lee, so be on the lookout for that documentary. Solo 2 possibly happening, maybe? Ron Howard had the following to say about this recently in an interview. He said, quote, "The only discussion that I'm aware of about a sequel for Solo is coming from the fans at this point," end quote, which, kind of interesting because I thought people hated that movie, especially the fan base. Anyways, Ron Howard continued on saying, quote, "I don't think is a Lucasfilm priority as I understand, but there's some great characters launched and the folks at Lucasfilm love the fans and really do listen. So I know I would never say never, but I'm not aware of any concrete plans right now to extend the story or deal with the set of characters," end quote. Did I see Solo? Yes, once. Saw Solo once. I don't know if we need a sequel, to be honest with you. If they do one, of course, I'll check it out. I'm into the Star Wars stuff. Not like a die-hard Star Wars fan, but I find enjoyment in watching the stuff. The films, the shows, the video games. But I don't know if we need a sequel to Solo or not. I mean, I'm not against it. There's some things they set up in that movie that they could, do a sequel and all that stuff. But yeah, I think the focus right now for Star Wars is moving in, a different direction away from the Skywalker saga characters. And of course, Solo 2 had, Han Solo in it, of course. So Yeah, I don't think. I don't know if that's happening. But we'll see. Anything can happen, especially when you get Disney Plus. They can probably do a solo show or something. So we'll see what happens there. Sticking with Star Wars, this works out. Great. Next bit of news here, video game news. PlayStation Plus Essential lineup. So if you're a PlayStation fan like myself and you got the PlayStation Plus, they do some awesome stuff with their things, and they give you some games on there for free, normally about 3 games. So PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for 2023 subscribers, they got a big one this week, or this month, and that is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Get it right now. Even if you're apprehensive, like, I don't know about that, play it. It's freaking good. It's got Cameron Monaghan in it. We all love him. He's freaking awesome. All right. What a game. What a freaking game that is. Friend of the show, Bernard, gave me that game. Like, freaking love that game. That game's so cool. Had a good time with that game. So excited, that it's going to be available on the PlayStation 5. I'm downloading that for show. It starts on January 3rd and will last till February 6th. Also, there is Fallout 76. That'll be available as well. So again, if you're a PlayStation Plus Essential member, if you're not, get it, dude. I was apprehensive for a while too, but freaking it is worth it. So worth it, man. I played a Power Rangers game, had a great time, got my ass kicked by the Red Ranger, still had a good time. Downloaded the Guardians of the Galaxy game, need to play that. So good. So excited about all this stuff. Jedi Fallen Order. And this is just in time, too, because the sequel's coming out on March 15th, 2023. So get on it, people. Get a PlayStation, because, PlayStation's awesome. Get the Plus. Pay for it monthly. Like, pay for it one month and not the other month. Do what you gotta do. We all work. We understand it. We understand money's tight sometimes. Take your time, man. Do what you gotta do. But right now, between January 3rd and February 6th, if you got a PlayStation, get it. All right, moving back into movie talk here. The next trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania will debut on January 9th during the National College Football Championship game. Sports, yay! I like football. I can't tell you who's playing in that game though. I think it's TCU and Georgia, maybe, possibly. Go TCU. I don't know. But that trailer will debut during the national championship game, which makes sense because that should be on ESPN, and Disney owns ESPN, and Disney owns Marvel. So yada yada yada. Do your stuff. So there you go. Cool. I mean, I'll check it out. Why not? I'm interested in the movie, man. I like Paul Rudd. I'm a Paul Rudd guy, and then I'm interested to see where this phase goes. I wasn't the biggest fan of Phase 4, so I'm interested to see where Phase 5 ends up going. There's a quote for me on the show where I say I'm not a Marvel guy, and it's kind of true. I don't get overly excited about many things when it comes to Marvel movies. I've been, I tell my truth when it comes to Marvel movies, and I will say I'm interested in this Ant-Man movie, seeing where this goes and sets things up. I am excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy film. See how that all ties up and everything. We'll see how things go. I mean, maybe I'm getting a little, lenient now in my Marvel feelings because, found myself the other day. There was a Marvel show I did on the Patreon with Zach, and we left off on Thor, and I haven't watched Thor yet. I was kind of thinking the other day, like, I might want to watch Thor. We'll see. I mean, that first movie's not freaking. Ugh. We'll see if that ever happens. Probably not, but maybe it will. But anyways, Ant-Man and the Wasp next trailer, probably the final trailer because that movie's coming out soonish. That movie comes out in February, right? Let's see, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania release date is February 17th, 2023, where the Flash trailer will be playing before it, apparently, if you believe internet rumors. The Flash trailer will be playing before it. But the Flash trailer will be shown during the Super Bowl, which is a couple days before that movie, so it'll be out already. But there you go. And the last bit of news here is rumor. Do not take this as truth. This is music news. This is music news you won't get on the Thrill Me Podcast Network show, The Metal Groove, because that show does not talk about this artist unless they're making jokes about it. Dang it. But Tay-Tay, I love her. You know her. You should know her. Taylor Swift. Come on. Stop acting like you hate her. You like her. Taylor Swift's next re-recorded album will apparently be Speak Now. So, let's see where that goes. Taylor has re-recorded 2 of her albums so far. Fearless and Red. Both are Awesome. The next one being Speak Now. Speak Now was a good album. Came out in 2010. You got the song Mine, Sparks Fly, Back to December, Speak Now, of course. Dear John, Mean. Oh, Mean, what a song. The Story of, again, another good song. Enchanted, fantastic. Haunted, so good, especially the live version. Anyways, that is the rumored next re-recorded album. She's re-recording her albums because an asshat that bullied her bought the rights to her songs and the company that had her songs, and then he wouldn't sell them to her, and yada yada yada. The guy's an asshat, he's a piece of crap. Apparently, he sold it to somebody else since then because all the fans gave him the shit, which he deserved the shit because that guy is an asshat. So we might as well give him some more shit for his hat. But anyways, that's happening. See, is there anything else to talk about before I close the show? Ooh, got some DC thing here. Talking about test screenings for the Blue Beetle movie that's releasing later this year, and apparently it's testing pretty well. Yeah, it's getting some good tests here. All right, go ahead, Blue Beetle. Glad that movie is still happening. Can't wait to see what happens there. Apparently, it's testing extremely well. The action scenes are good. A lot of hand-to-hand combat action sequences, and super entertaining. All right, there you go. We'll see how the movie turns out later. We've seen good test screenings for the Flash film, and now hearing good test screenings for Blue Beetle. So it's good to know, man. Can't wait to see all the stuff. I am a DC guy, and I am hyped for some movies this year. And you want to hear about that hype list, not just mine. Well, we got the rest of the Throw Me Podcast Network. We got Zach, we got Mr. Wonderful, Tombstone Josh may or may not be there. Who knows? I don't know who else is joining the show. I don't know. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know what's going on. I'm just there, But the hype list episode will be happening. Be sure to check that out on the Throw Me Podcast Network's YouTube as well. You have the Mr. Wonderful show that's coming out later this week. If there's any news that breaks between my show and his show, he will have it for you, man. Again, we've got Slasher Report hitting this week as well. So if there's any horror movie news that comes out between my show and then they should have you covered there. Fun times, stuff happening here. Can't wait to see how it all goes, man. 2023 is here. Hoping for continued growth for the network. Make very excited, very happy about this network, man. An idea that, I had while swimming in a pool. And, because all great talks happen while you're in a pool. And, see what it's grown to and becoming is just very exciting. Very happy about it. It makes me very happy to see all these things and, do this with people I am, very happy to be, associated with. So, Throw Me Podcast Network into 2023 and beyond. Here we go. Hope everybody out there is doing great. Hope everybody out there has been safe. We're moving forward. We're in a new year. New year, new me stuff. No, new me, new year, same me, because I'm awesome. I love me. But, do what you need to do. Let's keep building. Work on your goals. Work on the thing you've always wanted to have in your life. You can make your dreams come true. You can do it. Here you go. It's your year. All that stuff, any cliches that you want to put out there, don't worry about cliches. Don't put a brand on it. Don't put a label on it. Don't put anything on it but yourself. And go after those things you've been hoping for in life because you can do it. You can succeed. I say, here, I'm doing this show, man. Me, freaking shy behind me, does this show every single week. Almost 2 years now of this show. Just talking about something I love and enjoy, man, and just keeping it going and, keep the things going. Got goals for the show and just going to keep pushing along and seeing what happens, man. Goals for the show, goals for the network, all that good stuff. So, again, appreciate you taking the time to listen to me ramble on and talk about these things that I find interesting. And hopefully you find them interesting. Enjoy me talking about them as well. And, here we go, man. New year. Let's get this thing going. Appreciate you all. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, week, month, year. Appreciate you all. That is not a Friends show reference. I just say that because I don't know when you're listening to this show. So, hopefully you listen to it as soon as it comes out, but sometimes that can't happen. I understand schedules, but appreciate anybody taking the time to listen to the show because I'm just having a blast doing it and excited. Anyways, that'll do it for this week's show. Thank you for listening to the Review at Rob show. Again, pay attention to Throw Me Podcast Network for any and all fun times that's happening. You'll get some more entertainment news with the Mr. Wonderful show. You get some more horror news with Slasher Report, and then you got the other fun stuff going on the show. With you got your music stuff with the Metal Groove. I guess it's growing up has some music stuff involved in it as well. So all good times, all fun times. You got some core memories unlocked. I'm excited. Anyways, remember, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. So turn on that light, chase your dreams, and until next week, I wish you all the best, and I will talk to you next episode with whatever news I have available to me to talk about, because we have all these news shows on this program now. I digress. Anyways, yes, be happy. What? Anyways, close the show. All right, see you later.